The challenge of this one as compared to the first Underworld is so much greater because the action's been stepped up that much more.
Gun is on, full load.
In this one, we're trying to take everything up a notch. I'm trying to make the action better by making everything faster, stronger, more aggressive.
Go.
The main difference is on the first one, we tried to keep everything in much of the vein of the Hong Kong style wire work. Jim Churchman, my main rigger, has an automated winch system. We rig wires to do the move that we want to do or whatever stunt it is that we're trying to accomplish. And it's run on a computer, so we calculate the acceleration, the deceleration, the speed of the total motion. And once we have that programmed in and locked in, we can do it over and over again. So the only adjustments that we ever have to make are the adjustments for the actual performer in the wire.
Go.
For the ship attack, I had sat down with Brad Martin, who was he was shooting second unit on that sequence, and I really again wanted to have it live action, have Marcus actually fly in on a wire, go through, knock out two guys, and it was a pretty extensive wire rig for Brad and his team to pull off, and Jim Churchman, who was putting together the rig itself.
The very first shot that we used the winches on was a second unit shot where Marcus is flying across the outside of the ship. On top of using the winches, we hooked a ratchet up to the computer, as well as another man on a wire on the same system. So we had 3 people flying on one computer. Marcus flies down and he swipes one of the guards out of the way, continues down, grabs another guard and pulls him up out of frame.
The flight in, I think, is amazing. It's one of my favorite shots in the film.
We could do exactly the same thing time and time again because of the computer system. Kate is extremely game to try everything she can do.
Stuff them in. Oh, you know what it is?
Collar pull down.
Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't elbow him yet.
That's right.
There's plenty of things to trip over, aren't there?
Okay.
The dropping into the shots are a lot of the great moments that I know Len is very happy with, and I'm sure Kate, ultimately, when she sees it on screen, is going to be psyched that she did it.
Cut.
Regardless of what people think, the harness and dropping on wires, just hanging in a wire for an hour or two definitely takes a toll on the body.
On this movie, Len had said to me at one point, he said she's much better in the action on this movie than in the first because she's more comfortable fighting. You know, in the first movie she hadn't really been a fighter before, but she had learned from the first movie. In this movie, she kicks butt.
And look up.
First movie, I literally was a fish out of water and had these 3 very intense months of training and went from somebody who just, you know, had to be taught how to not run like a girl, you know, really from scratch. This time I'd obviously had a bit of experience of that, so it was much easier to kind of come in, plus it was the same stunt crew that we had last time, so we all know how we all work and they know how I work.
You know, in the first film there was a lot of Kate's action involved, weapons and the double guns and the whole bit, and there was really only, I think, one sequence at the end, maybe a couple other exchanges where she was doing any hand-to-hand combat, and people really did respond to that, and Kate really got into it. She was like, I wish I had more of that. I wish I had, you know, more going on with the fighting sequences. And so on this one, we both wanted to get into more of that, and I think the fans and everybody wanted to see that as well. I really like the idea of Selene actually getting into a brawl just hand-to-hand with a werewolf. Just get them in that tunnel and just start you know, thrashing each other. and it wasn't really anything that came up in the first one to be able to find a scene that did that.
I mean, she's the perfect combination. She's a superior actress, and she also does great stunts at this point. So, what more could a producer ask for?
We did in the first Underworld where Selene jumps off the bell tower, and we have a landing where Nicole Randall, her double, lands right on the concrete and pavement and walks away.
I have a fantastic stunt double who's just done some terrifying things that I wouldn't have even remotely volunteered to do. And even if I'd wanted to, I don't think that I would have been allowed. I mean, she's jumping off cliffs and God knows what.
In the dungeon scene, her double does this backflip through as she's avoiding William striking at her. Does a backflip to evade it and falls through this hole in the walkway in the dungeon. And to overlap that piece of Selene landing, we actually put Kate in the wire, put her about 15 feet up in the air and dropped her at a fairly hot speed. It was a great shot. She came down really hot, made a nice little splash in the water and pulled out her guns and continued shooting at William. It was great. I shot second unit one night, and Scott Speedman did a fight with one of the werewolves. And we were in this little cramped tunnel, which was maybe 4 feet wide by 3 feet tall, and he was fighting this huge werewolf. Kurt Carley was the werewolf that's inside, the man inside the werewolf costume. And they did this battle for maybe 4 hours, throwing each other against the walls, and Speedman just kept on coming back for more, kept on coming back for more, and he did an awesome job.
Speedman is, he had a lot going on in this one as well, and it's just, you know, he wants to do everything. If he sees me putting anybody else on a wire, it's like, man, what are you doing? I'm here, like I'm in a hotel room. Like, what am I doing here? Like, put me on the wire.
All right, I think that's the one. Just let me watch.
I try to do as much as I can. Like, if we're doing a fight sequence that, you know, has a lot of moves and a lot of choreography, I mean, you know, if I can learn it and do it to where it looks okay, I like to do that.
He really loves doing that stuff, and so he'll always try it first, and we'll hook him up, and he's quite an athlete.
You know, I came up here early and, you know, tried to get in shape a little bit physically, so athletically, so I could do it. And hanging, you know, 25 feet up in the air and, you know, coming down and landing perfectly and doing all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's great. I mean, it's fun. I love doing that stuff.
He just dives into it and wants to do everything and gets just, you know, beaten up and thrown to the walls and everything. And he's a complete, you know, just trooper about it.
This movie's been a blast to shoot. I mean, it's hard, it's a lot of work, it's been long. I mean, it's been 4 months, but I mean, it's been fun. I mean, I don't feel as exhausted as I usually do at the end of a movie. I mean, it's been invigorating.